Hello guys, this is Vaish. So the 2022 test series has begun officially, and hope you are all studying as per the schedule given to you. Let's go and check the schedule just before beginning. So this 2022 test series, which started as per the timetable on June 14th, or whenever you joined, I would have given the first 10-11 test, which is the older 12 months of current affair, or 11 months, and the May month also would have been given. If not given, I'll give in the coming days. So this is what is given to you. So this will not have any video explanation. You have to go through the PDF, and it's all self-explanatory, questions, explanation, answers, everything is there in that. Okay, so if this is like something is pending, it's okay. Whenever buffer space comes, do 10 MCQ, 20 MCQ like that and catch up. Okay, or during your lunch time or break time and all, if you have that PDF, you just need to store it in your phone or laptop and then keep scrolling through it, and it'll be like a daily learning. And how much ever you learn, you tend to forget it. Okay, that's okay, everyone faces that. But towards the exam, again, go through that. Okay, so that is about the current affair. Then June 25 onwards, you were supposed to start with the textbook learning. So NCERT and the Spectrum had to go parallel. This also, maybe if you are a very kind of beginner, you don't know anything about history, geography, you may take time. But good thing is all these things have video explanations and video lectures already. Okay, so history, geography, Spectrum, all video lectures there free of cost in Vaishya IAS. So these things will be easy. Okay, that's why I kept this in the starting of the timetable, so that you can kickstart your preparation. Okay, all these things you search, you will get the videos. Now July 7 and 9, you have this test. That is why now this video you are watching, it is the video audio explanation of the test which you already got today. Okay, so the video link and the PDF both are given to you in email. So from there, click on the link. It will be directed in, as I told in starting, you should have a YouTube login, and that is hopefully the ID which you gave. So all you people will have access to it, and you can watch it again multiple times. Okay, so later till the exam you can watch it again. Okay, but see to it that you watch it regularly on the scheduled date, so that you can revise it again. Else if you start studying for the first time later, it will not be good, okay, to reach among the strongest aspirants. Okay, so now we'll discuss this test 13 and 14, which is NCERT history 678 and NCERT geography 678. So obviously in one video we cannot do all this 100 plus 100 200 MCQ. There will be multiple MCQs. So first we'll start here with first 19 MCQs, which is taken from class 6th of geography. Okay, so like that different videos will be there. Okay, so whichever order you want to watch, you can watch. Maybe you are watching history first before this, that's also okay. All the tests as per the schedule, the links will be given to you. Okay, so video lectures, as I told, class 6, class 7, class 8, class 9, class 10, all these things are already there free of cost. Also class 8, I think 2 parts are there, so all that is also covered. Okay, so this you can watch it. Class 11 and 12, we don't have lectures, that you have to read it by yourself. And as I told, we don't sell lectures or classes as of now. We have only test series concept. Okay, so all this introduction I am telling because this is the first video of your series. And now going to the test, the first test, the PDF. Open your PDF. I hope you have the PDF open, the test PDF which is given to you. Then it will be easy for you. Those who don't want the videos, don't watch this video. Okay, you can simply read through the PDF and learn it. Okay, this is just to guide those people who find it very lazy to read PDFs. Okay, so here if you see, this is the question PDF of the class 6th to 10th NCERT geography. So here the index is given, and all these textbooks you can download it from NCERT website also, which is free of cost. And here the questions are here. Okay, which are the following are true. So this is the thing which you have to revise later after my video. Later after 5 days, if you want to revise it, take this question PDF and try solving it. Okay, like whether you are able to solve the answer. So today we will now discuss each question one by one. Hopefully 1 to 19 or 1 to 20 MCQs we'll see. The first question, which of the following are true? The pole star indicates the direction to the north. The pole star can be located with the help of Ursa Major constellation. Okay, so here if you see, answer is given both 1 and 2, and this is taken from chapter 1. So pole star, okay, what is pole star? You have to see. For that, this diagram it will help you. Okay, earlier long time ago, when this map concept and this GPS and all these things are not there, the sailors and all used to look at the pole star. The pole star will be always in the northern direction, and that you can see through this particular thing. This actually, this shape which you see, this is a constellation. Constellation means a group of stars. Okay, so this last 2 stars, if you go straight, that is where the north star will be there. So with that, you can always understand like, okay, I'm going towards north, and obviously the other side will be east and this will be west. Okay, when you have that basic understanding like where is north, east, west and south. So this was a guidance method during those days. So the question is asking exactly that only. Okay, the pole star indicates the direction of to the north. That is correct. Then pole star can be located with the help of Ursa Major constellation. So that constellation as a whole is called Ursa Major. Okay, so in ancient times, people used to determine directions during the night with the help of stars. The north star indicates the northern direction. It is also called the pole star. It always remains in the same position in the sky. We can locate the position of the pole star with the help of the Saptarishi. one of the most easily recognizable constellation is the Saptarishi, that is the 7 sages. I'll show you a picture. So it is a group of 7 stars that form a part of Ursa Major or Big Bear constellation, group of stars forming certain patterns. These kind of things UPSC may not ask, but when you study like this, okay, first 6th to 8th NCERT, then only bigger things you will be able to catch up. Later when you study lot of asteroids and meteors and all, you will need to know the basics. Okay, so let me show you some diagram. If you see this thing, okay, this entire thing, if you see, this is called the Ursa Major constellation or the Big Bear constellation because it makes the shape of a bear. Now just focus on this small area alone. This small area, if you see, this is the Big Dipper, okay, or the Saptarishi. Okay, this is called the Big Dipper, like a big spoon kind of thing. Okay, so this is the small portion of the entire Big Bear constellation. Okay, so that in Indian context, they are naming with the 7 rishis name. Okay, Saptarishi. Okay, this Vasishta is there, some Atri, then Pulastya, Pulaha. So that is not important for you, but you have to understand that Saptarishi is same as the Great Dipper, and both of this is the part of the Great Bear or the Ursa Major constellation, okay, which the foreign naming convention is. Okay, so this is the idea behind that question. Okay, North Pole, Pole Star is in the direction of the north, and that can be located with the help of the Ursa Major constellation, as you see here. Okay, you have this Ursa Major constellation, this small Saptarishi, this looks straight, you will see the North Star. That is the question number 1. Now, second question, which of the following are true? Inner planets are made mainly of rocks, while outer planets are mainly made of fluids and gases. Then Mercury and Venus are the only planets in the solar system which has no moons. Okay. Then Jupiter has the highest number of moons in the solar system. Here the answer is given 1, 2 only. So we'll see the wrong statement first. Jupiter has the highest number of moons. That is wrong. Because this revision chart, if you see, okay, this thing is called revision chart. Okay. So here we have given a complete summary in which again you don't have to by heart all these things. Maybe very rarely this kind of factual things are going to be asked in UPSC, but it's good if you know it. So here if you see, Jupiter and Saturn both has 53 confirmed moons, but provisional moons or the non-confirmed ones, Saturn has little extra. Okay, and this number keeps varying. That's why I'm telling, don't by heart it. By the time you take exam, maybe this will become 55, this will become 29, 35. The numbers can keep changing. But as of now, because we are studying from NCERT, even in NCERT, I think it will be wrong numbers. It will not be the correct numbers like what you see on screen. Okay, you will be seeing some other number there in your textbook. But this is what is the latest figures. So if that's why Jupiter highest moon is wrong, because total if you see, Saturn is 82 if you add this, and Jupiter is 79, 3 less. Okay, then if you see, Mercury and Venus are the only planets in the solar system which has no moons. That also if you see, 0, 0. Okay, Mercury, Venus don't have any moons. And then inner planets are made of rocks. Like see, inner planets, rock. Inner planets means this one, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Beyond Mars, whatever is there, this is the order also from the Sun. If you take left towards right, Jupiter, that in the NCERT textbook you would have seen. Jupiter, Saturn, this thing are the outer planets, or which is the made of this thing, liquids and gases. Okay, not the solid rocky kind of thing. So that is the basic understanding of this question. Okay, and planets do not have their own light; they reflect the light from the Sun. Okay. Now third question. Which of the following is true? Jupiter, Saturn and Uranus have rings around them. Okay. Then the suns provide the pulling force that binds the solar system. So here if you see, answer is both 1 and 2. Jupiter, Saturn and Uranus have rings around them. Okay, that is correct. These are built of small debris. You would have seen pictures. Okay, just imagine that a ring kind of thing around the planet. So that is called what you call rings. So that rings is present for all these three. Okay, so make some trick for that JSU or JUS something, but make a trick and understand that these three has rings around it. And this can be seen from the Earth also. If you have powerful telescope, you can see it from the Earth. The Sun is in the center of solar system. It is huge and made up of extremely hot gases. It provides a pulling force that binds the solar system. Okay, so solar system, earlier there were 9 planets. Then Pluto was not there. Pluto was removed from it. That also I'll show you after some time in next MCQ. So 8 planets are there and they will be going around the Sun. So that pulling force is given by the Sun. So second statement is also correct. Okay, it's the ultimate source of heat and light. Tremendous heat is not felt as much as because despite being our nearest star, it is far away from us, because you know Sun is also a star. Okay, and there are many other stars, Alpha Centauri, there are many other stars. Try to find out the names. So Sun is the nearest star, but because it is far away still from us, that is 150 million kilometer, we don't feel that burning heat, or what to say, the Earth is still sustaining. Okay, now the next question. All the 8 planets of the solar system move around the Sun in fixed elongated paths. Venus is called the Earth's twin because of same size and mineral composition. Pluto, like Ceres, is a dwarf planet. So here, all the 8 planets of the solar system are move around the Sun in a fixed path. That is correct. Okay, elongated oval shaped path it is going. These paths are elongated, as I told. They are called orbits. The path in which they go is called orbit. Okay, and that plane will be called orbital plane. Now Mercury is nearest to the Sun. it takes about 88 days, like in the vision chart you would have seen above, 88 days to complete one round. Venus is considered as Earth twin because of its size and shape. Okay, it is similar to the Earth, the size and shape, but the mineral composition, this part is wrong. That is why statement 2 is wrong. Okay, mineral, it's a different thing. Venus has lot of other combination. When it's air composition and all, if you take, there will be a lot of carbon dioxide, lesser nitrogen. It's all different compared to the Earth's composition. And then Pluto, like Ceres, is actually this thing only. If you see here, till 2006, Pluto was also considered a planet. However, in a meeting of the International Astronomical Union, okay, who decides all these things, a decision was taken that Pluto, like other celestial objects, that is Ceres, discovered in recent past, may be called dwarf planet. Okay, so I'll show you some more names of dwarf planet. If you see here, see Pluto, Eris, Home, Make, Ceres, all these are dwarf planet. Okay, just remember that it's dwarf planet. And Venus, if you see the combination, 96% carbon dioxide. Earth's atmosphere is not like that. That and all you will learn again in future test, but you should know Earth is not like this. Earth has very lesser carbon dioxide and very like higher, I think 70-75% nitrogen is there. So it is a composition matching is a wrong statement. Okay. Now next one, fifth question. Which of the following are true? Earth's shape is called geoid because it has a magnetic pole. Light, even while having a speed of 3 lakh meter per second, takes 8 minutes to reach Earth from the sun. Okay, so again, it's a factual thing. As I told, class 6 will have a lot of factual things which you have to by heart. So here both are wrong because they are partially wrong. Earth is called geoid, that is correct. Okay, the shape is not round or spherical, it is geoid because flattened at the pole. But because it has a magnetic pole, that is wrong. Okay, and this kilometer thing also, this distance, I'll show you here. It is 3 lakh kilometer per second. Okay, speed is distance by time. So 3 lakh distance, kilometer distance per second. Okay, but in question we gave meter. So that's a big factor error. Okay, so that kind of things UPSC used to ask in the 90s. So maybe you will have to by heart it. Okay, then again, as I told, the Earth is the third nearest planet to Sun, fifth largest planet. It is slightly flattened at the poles. That is why shape is described as geoid. Because of that shape, it is called, not because it has a magnetic pole or North Pole, South Pole, not because of that. Okay. Then, okay, so that is it. Now, class 6, chapter 1 was over. And so, in that, some factual things are there. Like Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong was the first man to step on the surface of the moon on 21st July 1969. Okay, this also is a very interesting thing. Neil Armstrong, along with other 2 people, went there. Okay, but his name only we study everywhere. Okay, I think maybe I'll have a picture for that. See here. Neil Armstrong and then 2 other people. And one was the one who simply took them, the spaceship, who was like the pilot of that spaceship. He could not even step his foot on the moon. Okay, other person just after 10 minutes behind him went, but his name also nobody knows. If you know the names, tell in comment section. Okay, why I'm telling this, because this third person who was the pilot, he died recently. Okay, he was 95 years old or something, and he recently died. That time only I saw this news. So this person's name nobody even cares. No textbook teaches you, but you have to know, okay, these 3 people went to the moon mission for the first time and he stepped on it, and then after 10 minutes the other person went, and then the third person was sitting inside this thing. He could not even go down. He just waited there and then took them back. Okay, so that kind of stories also is very interesting. Now the Earth appears blue because its 2/3 surface is covered by water. It is therefore called the blue planet. Now Earth's moon, Earth's moon diameter is only 1/4 of the Earth, meaning Earth is of one particular size, 1/4 of that size is moon's size, okay, the diameter, and it's about 384,400 kilometers away from the Earth. The moon moves around the Earth in about 27 days. It takes exactly the same time to complete one spin, meaning its revolution time around the Earth and its rotation time in the axis is same. That is why only one side of the moon is visible to us. This is a question asked by UPSC. That's why I have highlighted this. Okay, why do we see only one side of the moon all the time? Because the time it takes to rotate and time it takes to revolution around the Earth, both are same, 27 days. So whenever you see, you will see like only one side is there because it's keep on changing its thing. Okay, just imagine that. You take 2 tennis ball or something in your hand and make one as Earth and make one as this thing. Earth is also moving slowly. And this thing is also moving slowly, and it's on its axis also. So you will see, like always, you will see the same face only. Okay, when it goes around the Earth. That is why one side of the moon is visible. And moon has no water or air, but has mountains, plains, and depressions. Okay, these are again factual things because Chandrayaan 3 mission is also happening now. So you have to know about this. Now, a satellite is a celestial body that moves around the planet in the same way as the planet moves around the sun. Okay, satellite. Asteroid. Tiny bodies which also move around the sun like planets. They are found between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. Okay, I told you Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, that order you know, right? So when Mars is there, Mars and Jupiter, in that gap, there are a lot of rock kind of things, which is also going like the planet. Like suppose Mercury is going like this around the sun, this asteroid also will go around the sun. but the asteroids are all found in between this gap, Mars and Jupiter. Okay, so it is called an asteroidal belt. This is also a UPSC question. Where is asteroidal belt? It's between Mars and Jupiter, and it moves around the sun just like planets. Okay, scientists are of the view that asteroids are part of the planet which exploded many years back. So when planets exploded long back, that time small rocks were there. Now meteoroid, meteor and meteorite, these three things, even though people keep hearing, they always have confusion. So in the picture I'll show you. If you see here, this is an asteroid, a big rock thing which goes around, and this is a, see the naming, same kind of thing, asteroid, meteoroid. The name is same, like similar naming convention. So this is same, but this will be even smaller. Okay, rocky or metallic fragment of an asteroid, comet or a planet. Like this is a broken part of a planet. This can be a broken part of an asteroid. Okay, that much small. So this also will be going around. So this meteoroid, and this does not have a definite place or definite path like between Mars, Jupiter and all. It will be there anywhere. So meteoroid. Now this, when it reaches the Earth's atmosphere, like suppose this is Earth's atmosphere and it is entering, it will like flash up. Okay, streak of light seen when a meteoroid heats up in the atmosphere. That is called meteor. Okay, so a short word, meteor, meaning like a flash. So meteoroid becomes meteor, and now when it enters the Earth, it will go and hit somewhere, right? It will go and fall somewhere. So that time it is called meteorite. Okay, meteor fragment that reaches the ground. So you can see here T is like hit. This hit, like that you remember. So hit the Earth. Whatever hits the Earth ground, that is meteorite. What is on the starting phase, it is meteoroid. And then when it reaches the flash and enters the atmosphere, it is meteor. Okay, now hope all these things are clear. And comet is same thing, but it will have a tail kind of thing because of the flash. Okay, icy body that releases gases as it orbits the sun. It also orbits the sun, but it will be emitting gases like this. So because it's a flashy kind of thing, we feel there's a tail to it. Okay, like a shooting star kind of thing. So that is called comet. So hope the definitions are clear. These are very important, so that later bigger things you can study, like Trojan asteroids and all. Now, galaxy is a huge system of billions of stars and clouds of dust and gas. There are millions of such galaxies that make up the universe. Example, Milky Way galaxy or Akash Ganga. Our solar system is part of the galaxy. Okay, this entire solar system will be always in a galaxy. Galaxy is a group of stars. Like as I told, constellation, like Ursa Major, is a smaller group. But if there are millions of stars together, that's called a galaxy. Okay, so that is the definition. Now the next question. Which of the following are true? The distance from the equator to the Earth of the pole is 1/4 of the circle around the Earth. Okay, the distance from the equator to either of the pole is 1/4 of the circle around the Earth. You know, full Earth, there is a circle. Okay, so 1/4 of that will be this one, distance from the equator to pole. Angle of the pole star from your place helps you know the latitude at your place. This is a factual thing which you have to by heart. Okay, here it's given. Statement 2 is a fact which you should know. You don't need to get into details. Angle of the pole star. Pole star I showed you first itself. That from your place, when you look upside, that angle, if you know, you can even calculate the latitude of your place. For that, latitude and longitude and all you should know. Okay, so that also with pictures I'll try to tell you. Let me see where I see this. If you see, this is a equator, and then there will be lines, lot of lines. Like Tropic of Cancer is one of the latitude at 23.5 degree. Okay, then this Arctic Circle is another latitude which is 66.5 degree. So from here 0, this is 0 degree, and pole is 90 degree. So 0 to 90 degree. But the full circle is what? Full circle is 360 degree. So obviously from equator to pole is 90 degree, means it is 1/4 of the full circle. Okay, downwards also. Downward this will be 90 degree. Okay, so that will be 1/4 here. If it's 0 degree, 90 degree. This will be 1/4 of the whole circle. Okay, that was the first statement there, which is correct. Okay, and the statement 2, as I told, angle will help you get the latitude. Okay, now question 7. The midday sun is exactly overhead at least once a year on all latitudes between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, the midday sun never shines overhead on any latitude beyond the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. This is again the similar kind of thing. For this actually we are trying to teach you three terminology: torrid zone, temperate zone and frigid zone. So if you see here, this is the equator. Suppose sun is here left side and sun is putting its light towards it. So equator and this Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn, this area, right, this torrid zone, this is the area when sun will be at least once in a year, it will be directly above you. Okay, like that and all, later you will study equinox, what is equinox and all. So when it hits on top of you, that thing, okay, that region is called torrid zone. The midday sun is exactly overhead at least once a year on all latitudes in between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. This area therefore receives the maximum heat and is called the torrid zone. Now midday sun never shines overhead on any latitude beyond the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, beyond the Tropic of Cancer here northern, and beyond the Tropic of Capricorn southern. Okay, so there it will never be overhead. And this area, okay, where it is between this and the poles, okay, or this Arctic Circle, that is called temperate zone, because the temperature will be a little bit temperate. It will not be too much hot like the equator and tropic. Now, area lying between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole in the northern hemisphere, and this one, Antarctic Circle and the South Pole, that is called frigid zone, because the sun's this thing will not reach it much. Okay, it will be in a slanting way, so it will not reach much, and that is why it's called the frigid zone. So very, very basic terminology. Okay, I don't think UPSC till now have asked any question based on this. Okay, so this question, both the statements are true, because it is only in that time, that location, where the midday sun will be overhead in the torrid zone. Now question number 8. Unlike parallels of latitude, all meridians are of equal length. They are semicircles, and the distance between them decreases steadily polewards. 180 degree east and 180 degree west meridians are on the same line. So all three statements are true. So we'll see the picture again. Unlike parallels of latitude, all meridians are of equal length. So here if you see, this is equator. It will have a big circle because in the center. But when you draw one more circle above, suppose 1 degree or 2 degree, here you draw a circle, that will be smaller one. And then again small, and till the pole when you reach, it will become a point, a single point. So that circles are decreasing in size. That means what? The latitudes all have different length. Okay. But longitude, if you take, it is going like this, horizontally. That whichever longitude you take, everyone's length will be same. Okay. That is the difference. So that is the first statement they are asking. Unlike parallels of latitude, all meridians are of equal length. That is true. Now they are semicircles, and the distance between them decreases steadily polewards. Okay, if you see, these are semicircle. From here to here, one semicircle. From here to here, one semicircle. Because if you draw full only, it will become a circle. Okay, and the distance between them, if you see here, this much distance is there. Above, if you see, little lesser, then lesser. And by the time you reach the pole, where it merges, everything merges, the distance will be 0 between each longitude. Okay. 180 degree east and 180 degree west are on the same line. Again, this is 0 degree. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, like this you will go eastwards up till 180. Then here also you will go 1, 2, 3, 4 up till 180. So that line, 180 degree east which comes and 180 degree west which comes on either side of prime meridian, both will be the same line. Okay, like we have a single 0 degree here, you will have a single 180 degree there. Okay, that is the third statement. So that is again same thing which is explained here. Okay, and why you should know this is because like equator, we already know, like when you have a picture like this will be the center. That is common sense. But when you do it vertically, where will you draw the center? You don't have anything called equator here. You can draw here also one line, you can draw here also. Wherever you do, it will divide it into two halves. So they decided like the Greenwich Meridian place, okay, which is the British Royal Observatory that time, they told let this line be 0 degree. Okay, so whatever goes through that is 0. Okay, and that also maybe in the map it will be more clear. Okay, if you take here, this is British. So here this line, this is 0 degree. Okay, so here we will do 0 degree, and whatever is on the right side will be eastern hemisphere. Whatever is in the western will be western hemisphere. That's how it was decided. See, little more clearer map. Prime meridian, Tropic of Cancer. So if you see, this latitude will be small. Tropic of Cancer line will be a little more bigger. Equator will be the biggest circle. So latitude, the size keeps on changing. Next question, which of the following are true? The shadow cast by sun is shortest at sunrise and longest at sunset. When the prime meridian of Greenwich has the sun at the highest point in the sky, all the places along this meridian will have midday or noon. As the earth rotates from east to west, those places east of Greenwich will be ahead of the Greenwich time, and those to the west will be behind it. So this again, one thing you have to know, sunrise or sunset is not like shortest and longest. Okay, when will be the shortest thing? It will be when the sun is just above you. Okay, so this is the noon time. So if you see, shadow cast by the sun is shortest at the noon time and longest at sunrise and sunset. So first statement is wrong. Now second statement, when the prime meridian of Greenwich has the sun at the highest point in the sky, all the places along the meridian will have midday or noon. So obviously as I told, when sun is just above you at the highest point in the sky, that full line, okay, will have midday or noon. Okay, which is the same time when the shadow will be shortest. Then as the earth rotates from east to west, here is where the mistake is. Earth actually rotates from west to east. Okay, like this it will rotate. This is west, this is east. So it will go like this, west to east. And so those places which is east of the Greenwich will be ahead of Greenwich time, and those to the west will be behind. That also I'll explain with the pictures. So this is a Greenwich meridian, and so here if it's suppose some time 12 o'clock or something, whatever is here will be in front of that, meaning it will be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, like that. Okay, and this side it will be before that, meaning 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, like that. Okay, if it is 12 o'clock in the meridian, that also I'll explain like how many minutes varying and all. We'll see in next question. Okay, here it's given. The rate of difference is calculated as follows. The Earth rotates 360 degree in about 24 hours, which means 15 degree an hour or 1 degree in 4 minutes. Thus, when it is 12 at Greenwich, 15 degree east of Greenwich will be 15 into 4, 60. Okay, so if you take the picture, this is 0 degree. Now suppose you go 15 degree. Okay, so for each 15 degree, it will change 1 hour. That's what they are telling. And if you take 30 degree, it will be 2 hours. Okay, meaning 30 degree here, one line, suppose it's there, east. Okay, if you take here 0, 20, 60, like that's going right. For each 15 degree, 1 hour changes. So you can calculate India's time also like that. India will be at 82.5. You see here 80, this is going through India. So India's line is decided at 82.5. So 0 to 82.5, how much 15 is there? 15, 15, 15, 15, 5, 15. So if you take it, it will become 75 degree. Then you just take half of that, 7.5 degree. So it is 82.5. So it is 5 hours plus another 30 minutes. That's how 5.30. We in our clock, mobile, everywhere we will be setting, right? GMT plus 5:30, GMT plus 5:30. That is this only. GMT means Greenwich Meridian Time, and then 5:30. That 5:30 is decided like this only because there is 82.5 degrees from this thing to this thing. So that is 5 times 15 degree and then a half of that, 7.5 degree. Okay, hope that idea is clear. So this again, fact sheet is given. Equator, as I told, imaginary line running on the globe, divides it into two equal parts, northern and southern hemisphere. Latitude, all parallel circles from the equator up to the poles are called parallels of latitude. Latitudes are measured in degrees. In India, there will be a difference of 1 hour and 45 minutes. Okay, India's map also you should know. India is also a big country, right? So if you take like this, India is like 8 degree latitude to 37 degree latitude, and both are north. Why are we writing north? Okay, this actually should be north. It's a mistake here. This should be north. Okay. So if you, let me correct it now itself. Well, students will learn it like that. It is north. Okay, this should be N. And here again, it should be east. Sorry. It should be east. This also east. Why? Because we know that Greenwich Meridian Time is here. So anything right side of this should be east. Okay, we are 68 degree east here and we are 97 degree east here. Okay, there is nothing called west in our latitude. And above also this should be north, and this should be north because we are fully above the equator. Okay, and the distance and all you see 3000 kilometer like this and around 3000 kilometer like this. Many people think like this way it is small. Okay, but it's not like that. This also is around 3000 kilometer. This also is around 3000 kilometer. Okay, and so India, because this is there, obviously, as I told, when you go each 15 degree, the timeline will change. So here it is 68 degree and here it is 97 degree. So by the time you reach from Gujarat to this thing, time will change. 1 hour 45 minutes difference is there. That is why we decided a line, which is this dotted line, which goes through 82.5 and tell like this is Indian Standard Time, IST. So everywhere we'll follow the same time. No matter the earth is going how, sun is going how, we'll tell this time, what is ever the time here, that will, we'll set all our watches to that time. Okay, which is GMT plus 5.5 hours. Okay. So that is what I explained here, 82.5, that is 5.5 degree. Okay. So we don't have to worry about this difference, 1 hour 45 minutes. Now Russia, if you know, there I have 11 standard times. Okay. USA, Canada also have. I can show you. Bigger the country, the bigger will be the left and right difference, right? So there, if you see USA, they are following 5 timelines like this. Okay, Pacific time, Mountain time, Central time, Eastern time. Same like that, Russia will have 11 timelines. If it's GMT plus 2, GMT plus 3, GMT plus 5, GMT plus 6. So when you see 5 and 6, you can understand India will be somewhere here, right? Simply draw a line downwards, you will find India there. Okay, because India is GMT plus 5.5, GMT plus 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So everybody, each time when you travel, right, you have to keep changing your watch. Okay, the time will keep on changing when you go from left to right. So bigger the country, more number of time zone. Entire world, I think there are around 24 time zones. Okay, like this. Australia also has 2-3 time zones. So you have to know these kind of basic things. India has only 1 time zone. Now the axis of the earth, which is an imaginary line, makes an angle of 23.5 with its orbital plane. I told you the orbit will be there through which a planet will go around the earth, around the sun, and the plane, that flat plane is called orbital plane. Okay, so they are telling the axis of the earth makes a 22 degree half on its plane. And due to the spherical shape of the earth, only half of it gets light from the sun at a time. So here one thing is, it's not 23.5 degree, it is 66 degree. Okay, that is 66.5. Total is 90 degree, right? Like this, if you draw an L shape, it is 90 degree. So this earth's axis is making with the plane. The plane is the path in which it will go. That plane, it is making 66.5 degree here. Okay, and so the first statement is wrong. Now second statement, due to the spherical shape of the earth, yes, only half of it gets, and this circle is called circle of illumination. Okay, this particular thing is called circle of illumination because the other side will be night time that time. Only this will get the sun. Okay, as and when revolution is happening, it will change, and different people will have different day and time. Okay, so that is different thing. So that question answer 2 only. Now this one, very very important question, which 2019 question also came. Seasons change due to the change in position of the earth around the sun. Okay, then at equinox, whole earth experiences equal days and equal night. Then during September 23, it's autumn in northern hemisphere. Okay, here all these statements are true. So we'll try to understand. First thing, we'll see the picture. If you see this thing, this is the sun, and earth, suppose it's starting from here and it's going like this. Okay, as I told, west to east it will go. This is west, this is east. So it will go like this direction. So when it's going, these two positions, right, which when it's like directly facing the sun, that is called equinox. Equinox means it will have equal day and equal night because it will be getting northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, it will be getting the same way. Okay, the sunlight will be getting same way, there's no tilt or anything. But slowly when it goes here, okay, suppose it's going and reaches here by June 21st June, okay, which is the yoga day also. Why is yoga day? Because it's selected purposely. Okay, it's the day of summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. If you see this earth, okay, this lines is very black color lines will help you understand. This black color lines is the equator, Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. And the last point, see, this is Antarctica. Antarctica, see, there is no sunlight in South Pole. So in June 21, here it is actually no sunlight. It's completely in darkness. But the Arctic Circle, if you see, there in the north, there they have sunlight. Okay, but little bit lesser compared to this area. So this sun is directly hitting the Tropic of Cancer now. Okay, Tropic of Cancer. This is when India and all, we all have summer. Okay, around March to June, this time, this is when we have summer. So this is the one position you have to know, summer solstice position. And when it goes like this and reaches here, it will become just like the March time. Okay, September 23, it will reach the March time. So this is spring season, this is autumn season. Okay, this you have to by heart. Okay, just like this you have to by heart. 21st March is the spring season in everything in northern hemisphere. Okay, because with all these things are imaginary things, so we have to take references. So we will talk everything about northern hemisphere because India is in the northern hemisphere. Okay, so this time spring, and then this time summer, this time we come here autumn, and then we'll get winter in December time. So dates also 21st March, 21st June, 23rd September, 22nd December. Okay, so here if you see, by the time it reaches, what happens, the tilt is that side. No, tilt is like this, so it will go like this, and then now if you see, the Arctic Circle is in darkness. Okay, and the Antarctic Circle is getting the light. Okay, so this is called the winter solstice. Okay, here the Tropic of Capricorn, the down line, this is where sun is directly hitting. See, sun is directly going and hitting the Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, now same thing in textual format. If you understood the picture, we'll see the textual format. On 21st June, longest day and shortest night. That is where? In the northern hemisphere. This has to be always mentioned, else it's wrong. Okay, it is tilted toward the sun. The rays of the sun falls directly on the Tropic of Cancer. The areas near the poles receive less heat as the rays of the sun are slanting. The North Pole is inclined towards the sun, and the places beyond the Arctic Circle experience continuous daylight for 6 months. As I told here, this place will get continuous daylight for 6 months. That time, this will have continuous darkness also. Okay, the down one. At this time, the southern hemisphere, all these conditions are reversed. It is winter season there. The nights are longer and the days shorter. Okay, than the days it is longer. So here you should understand, whatever is the other hemisphere, it will be reverse of that. Okay, now winter solstice on 22nd December, longest day and shortest night in the southern hemisphere. Okay, because now we are directly hitting the southern hemisphere. The rays of the sun falls directly on the Tropic of Capricorn. The South Pole is inclined towards the sun, and the places beyond the Antarctic Circle experience continuous daylight for about 6 months. At this time, northern hemisphere, all these things are reversed. It is winter season there. That is, the nights are longer than the days. Okay. Now equinox on 21st March, that is spring in the northern hemisphere, and September 23, autumn in the northern hemisphere. Okay, we are telling everything northern hemisphere. Direct rays of the sun falls on the equator. At this position, neither of the poles is tilted towards the sun. Okay, here there is a tilt, here there is a tilt, but here there is no tilt because directly getting this face of the earth is getting it. Okay, so here whole earth experience equal day and equal night. That phenomenon is called equinox. Okay, so summer solstice, winter solstice, equinox, you have to tell, but in every definition be careful when you use the hemisphere. Okay, because it has to be correctly mentioned. Now here two more terms you will see. One is this ephelion and one is perihelion, which is actually when the earth is farthest away from the sun, it is called ephelion, and when it is nearer to the sun, it is called perihelion. Okay, so that is one. These numbers are not, you don't have to by heart, but you have to know this is the technical terms of it. Okay, So again, fact sheet. Rotation is the movement of Earth on its axis. The Earth takes around 24 hours to complete one rotation around its axis. This is called Earth day. Like Moon, I told you, it takes 27 days to rotate on its axis. Earth takes 24 hours only to take on its axis. This is the daily motion of the Earth. Revolution, the movement of the Earth around the Sun in a fixed elliptical path or orbit. It takes 365 1/4 days, 1 year to revolve around the Sun. But we always write 365 days only in our calendar and all. We'll do 365 days, and the remaining 1/4, that is 24 hours, 1/4 is 6 hours, that we ignore. Okay, because for convenience sake, we cannot put hours in our calendar. Okay, then now this is saved 4 times, and after the 4th year, we will take it as 24 hours because we ignored 6 hours 4 times. So that 24 hours is what comes on February 29th as a leap year. Okay, 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, 16, even 2020 was a leap year. Okay, because we added the 6 hours of every previous year and made up a day. Okay, that is the February 29, and that year, so we have 366 days. Okay, now another interesting thing you should know, Christmas is celebrated in summer in Australia. Okay, everywhere when you say Christmas, the image which you have in mind is full winter and ice and snow. But Australia, it is in the southern hemisphere. So they will have a completely different cycle. Okay, when we have the winter in the northern hemisphere, they have the summer, right? So December time, we have winter. So Australia has summer. Okay. Now the 4th chapter, there is no much thing to learn. Only 4 definitions are there. So no MCQs are made. Okay. Physical map, you know, where mountains, plateaus, plains, these are given. This physical map. Political map means all the cities, towns, villages, country, state, this will be there. Then thematic maps means even little more detailing, like roads, rainfall map, and it will be some theme. Okay, forest, industry, that is called thematic maps. And the components inside a map, you will need distance, you will need direction, you will need symbol. These are 3 basic components on every map. Okay, so this only you need to know, nothing else is there in the chapter. Now next chapter of class 6th, hydrosphere comprises water in all its form, that is ice, water, water vapor. Lithosphere comprises of both the continents and the ocean basins. Okay, so you know, continents, the land, that is coming under lithosphere. Same way, under the ocean also there is land. Okay, which in detail you will learn in class 12th. So there, that land is also coming under lithosphere. But the water body, the ocean, all these things will come in hydrosphere. Just 3-4 terms you have to know. One is lithosphere, one is hydrosphere, then one is atmosphere, and the togetherness of all this is called biosphere. Okay, a merging point of all this: land, water, air. Okay, this in every environment chapter also you would have seen. So this is the only thing take away from this MCQ. Okay, what is hydrosphere, what is lithosphere, and what is atmosphere and biosphere. Okay, so as I told, 21% oxygen are there, nitrogen 78%, and remaining are carbon dioxide, meaning less than like point something percentage only this thing. But Venus, when we discussed the previous question, Venus had 95% of carbon dioxide. That's why I told the composition is different. Okay, and the atmosphere can extend up to 1600 kilometers. That again you will learn. Okay, in later classes you will learn detailing of all the atmospheric levels. Okay, now 6 to 10, MCQ 13. Both temperature and density decreases as we proceed towards higher altitude. Asia is the largest continent, occupying almost 1/3 of the Earth's landmass. Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean, occupying almost 1/3 of the world's sea. So all these are factual and easy statements, and I hope you already know it. Okay, Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean, 1/3 of this thing. Okay, and if you see, let me see anything important is here. Yeah, Asia is the largest continent, and it's completely in the eastern hemisphere, as I told, because Greenwich Meridian time, eastern side is Asia. So entirely in the eastern thing. Tropic of Cancer passes through this continent. Then Asia is separated from Europe by Ural Mountains on the west. These are again factual things. Okay, there's a Ural mountain which separates Asia and Europe. Then the density of the atmosphere varies with the height, which is exactly this question. It is maximum at the sea level and decreases rapidly. So at the sea level, density will be at the highest. Now climbers, you know, mountain climbers and all, when you go up even a higher altitude, you need to carry oxygen cylinder because the density of the air is less, and so it will not be having much binding. Okay, so you will not be able to have enough for breathing, the oxygen level. Okay, the temperature also decreases as we go upwards. The atmosphere exerts pressure on the earth. This varies from place to place. Some area experience high pressure and some areas low pressure. Now this is one factual thing you have to learn. Air always move from high pressure to low pressure. This will be important for you when you later learn monsoons. Okay, wind will be going always from the high pressure region to low pressure region. Okay, whenever there is low pressure, the wind will quickly come and try to occupy that place. Okay, just by heart that line. So this, all three statements are true. Now again, fact sheet. Mount Everest, you know, it is the highest mountain thing, which is 8,494 meters above sea level, and greatest depth in an ocean is 11,000 meters, which is in Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean. So for this also, we have free video series. Actually, these 2 videos you should watch. Okay, if you see these 2, One is this one where I explained the 5 oceans. Okay, and later we had a video where we discussed the deepest point in all 5 oceans. Okay, this Mariana Trench and all will be somewhere here. This Challenger Deep is actually inside that only. Okay, inside Pacific Ocean. So this is the deepest point in all the 5 oceans. So that also we have already discussed. You can go and watch those videos. It's free again in Vaish Courses channel. Okay. So here, you know, there are 5 oceans, okay, which in NCERT and all already mentioned, and now in global level also, it is being starting to get printed. Okay, that's what I discussed in that video. Okay, Southern Ocean, which is not the smallest ocean, but the newest ocean as per textbooks. Okay, which is around the Antarctic continent. Okay, which is 60-degree circle. 60-degree you saw the latitude, right? So below that, everything is Antarctic Ocean. Arctic Ocean is in the Arctic Circle, which is in the North Pole. And there, if you see, it is connected to the Pacific Ocean by a narrow stretch of shallow water known as Bering Strait. Okay, this also, you should start imagining how the world map will look like. So Arctic Circle is there, Arctic Ocean is there, Pacific Ocean is there. So between that, there is a strait called Bering Strait. What is strait? Strait is nothing but a small water body. Okay, it's not a land, it's a water body which connects two bigger other water bodies. Okay, suppose here there is an ocean, here there is an ocean. To connect them, if there is a small passage of water, that is called strait. Okay. Now carbon dioxide, as I told, in the water it is there. Okay, we are trying to store carbon dioxide also nowadays because it will maintain the total heat budget. Okay, it will keep the planet with the optimal warmth which is required, and it's also helpful for the growth of plants. Now South Africa, these are factual things, okay, GK kind of things. South America has the world's largest river, which is Amazon. Okay, longest is which one? Longest is Africa's Nile River. Okay, then Australia is the island continent, meaning it's an island also, it's a continent also, it's a country also. Okay. Now, North America links South America by a very narrow strip of land called Isthmus of Panama. Now, if you see, this is called a narrow strip of land. Okay, isthmus. And strait is a narrow strip of water body. These are geographical terms. Okay, strait and isthmus, both are narrow strip, but one is a narrow strip of water, one is a narrow strip of land. Okay, now Arctic Circle passes through Europe. A larger part of Africa lies in the northern hemisphere. Now, Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn Equator passes through Africa. Strait is a narrow strip, as I told. Okay, so these are all factual things which may or may not be useful for UPSC, but it is mentioned in your NCERT. Okay. Now some mountains are even higher than the clouds. The Himalayas in Asia and the Alps in Europe are young fold mountains. The Rhine Valley in Europe is an example of block mountains. The East African Plateau in Kenya is the highest plateau in the world. Okay, so here 1, 2, 3. Because the last statement is wrong. The highest plateau is not in Kenya. It is in near to India, in near Nepal or Tibet. You should tell the Tibetan plateau, which is also called the Pamir Plateau. Okay, so that we'll see now about these mountains higher than the clouds. That you also will be knowing. There are many mountains. When you climb on that, you will see the clouds below you. Okay, so that is true. Now this three things you have to know: what is fold mountain, what is block mountain, and what is volcanic mountain. Volcanic mountain is very easy, you know, which has volcanic activity like Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa and Mount Fujiyama in Japan. Block mountains is like this picture you see here. Like suppose these two landmass just got suppressed vertically and go down, the center portion will look like it is elevated. Okay, so that portion is called host and this is called graben. So host and graben system, this is called fold mountains. Okay, so it is a like because of some reason this will go down vertically down, and that is why it became like a mountain shape. Okay, and the other one, the regular mountains, is called the fold mountain, and that can be old fold mountain also, young fold mountain also. The Himalaya and all are young fold mountain because it is still growing. Okay, even now the mountain height is going on increasing. Okay, but this Aravalli range, okay, in the Rajasthan, Gujarat region and all, that one is actually old fold mountain because erosion has started and its height is decreasing and it will be having rounded features. Okay, not the conical features. If you see this one, fold mountain will have, a young fold mountain will have conical peak, but this will have rounded peak kind of thing, rounded features and low elevation. Okay, so that is the difference between old fold mountain and young fold mountain. Okay, and some even will have ice structures, and that is the glacier part. Okay, you know, Gangotri glacier and all, from which Ganga starts, because it's at a height, so permanently there are frozen rivers of ice, okay, which is called glacier. So I hope all these definitions are clear. And here block mountain example are Rhine Valley and this Vosges mountain in Europe. Okay, block mountain. Now plateau is what? Plateau is a elevated flat land. Okay, meaning it need not be like a mountain. It can be flat top one like Deccan Plateau and all. And that is a like very good source for mineral deposits because it is formed like that only. It is formed by because a lot of volcanic deposits or a lot of mineral deposits came up together and it became a little bit height kind of area. Okay, only if it crosses around 600 meters or something, it is considered or qualified to be a mountain. Else everything is qualified to be a plateau. Okay. And that plateau need not have this slope kind of thing in all the sides. Mountain will have slopes, but a plateau only maybe one side is slope and other side is flat. Okay, so that is why it's a flat table, topped table without any steeps. Okay, one or more sides with steep slopes. So that is clear. And the highest thing, as I told, is Tibet Plateau. Okay, Tibet Plateau is the highest plateau at a height of 4,000 to 6,000 meters above the mean sea level. Okay, so everything is like sea level is the base you see, because sea level will be always same everywhere. So based on that, we tell the height above sea level, above sea level. Okay. Now again, some more fact. If you see this one, this is an undersea mountain, meaning below the ocean at the base it starts, and only a small tip will be outside the ocean. But total height, if you take, it's actually higher than the Mount Everest. Mount Everest was 8,000 meters. This is 10,000 meter. Okay. Deccan Plateau, one of the oldest plateau. In the plateau areas, there may be several waterfalls, and here examples are given. Hundru Falls in Chotanagpur Plateau on the river Subarnaneka, and Jog Falls in Karnataka. Why I am mentioning this? Because it's there in the NCERT. Else there are hundreds of waterfalls. Okay. Now this one, which we already discussed. The local time changes by 1 minute for every 4 degrees of longitude. Telangana became the 29th state in India in 2016. So these are again factual things. Sometimes we have to teach you factual things also. But here, first statement is wrong. Why? Because it is not 1 minute for 4 degree. It is 4 minute for 1 degree. Okay, I hope you are remembering the fact. I told 15 degree is 1 hour. That is 15 degree is 60 minutes. So what is 4 degree? It will be 4 minute will be 1 degree. Okay. If you are not able to understand, I'll just write it here. 15 degree is equal to 60 minutes. Okay. So 1 degree is equal to 4 minutes. Okay. This is what was supposed to be there in the question. One degree, 4 minutes. Okay, but we reversed it. And then this is again factual. It was in 2014. Okay, hopefully UPSC will not ask these kind of questions. But as I told, in NCERT it is there. Now Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri forms fertile deltas at their mouth. Okay, western coastal plains are narrower compared to eastern coastal plains. Himadri lies to the south of Himachal. So it's all a map based question. Okay, you have to know what is Indian map. And Indian map, if you see, to the west of the western Ghats and east of the eastern Ghat lies the coastal plain. The western coastal plain are very narrow. The eastern coastal plain are much broader. There are number of east flowing rivers. Okay, this Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, all these things. Okay, hopefully you have done the geography textbook before watching this video. Okay, so all these fall into that side, and these rivers have found fertile delta at their mouth. The Sundarban delta is found when the Ganga and Brahmaputra flow into the Bay of Bengal. It is the largest in the world. Okay, largest delta. The Himalayan mountains are divided into 3 main parallel ranges. The northernmost is the Great Himalaya or Himadri. Okay, you should know Himalayan ranges also. 3 this thing is there. One is Himadri, then Himachal, then the Shivaliks. Okay, but here we have told Himadri lies to the south of Himachal. So the order we just changed. Okay, actually Shivalik is the southernmost, and then above that Himachal, above that Himadri, and below all these Himalayas, what will be there? It will be the plains. Okay, the northern Indian plains lies to the south of the Himalaya, the Ganga plain and all. Okay, so it's just a map based question, and all these rivers flow into the eastern side. Okay, which have fertile delta, and the western coastal plain are narrow. Okay, if you see the Kerala coast, Gujarat coast, these Karnataka coast, these are all having very narrow coast. Okay, but in the right side it will have very broad one. Near Andhra, Orissa and all, it will be broader one. Okay, now again some fact sheet. The distance, as I told, 3,200 kilometers the top to bottom, Kashmir to Kanyakumari. 2,900 is from left to right, Kutch to Arunachal Pradesh, and then this is the area. This is the Tropic of Cancer, which passes through India. And time zones, I told you, US and Canada has 6 to 7 time zones. Rajasthan is the largest state in India. Goa is the smallest state in India in terms of area. Okay. Now 2 more questions we'll discuss and wind up this. So which of the following are true about Indian climate? Hot and dry winds called Lu blow during the day. Okay, a factual thing. It's actually there. Okay, hot dry wind blow through the day in India. Now during retreating monsoon, you know southwest monsoon which is going on now, which is actually going from the downside southwest region towards the northeast. It will go and hit the mainland. Then after that it will come back. When it comes back, it will go from mainland to the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea also it will reach. Okay, so that is the retreating monsoon. Now monsoon is taken from Arabic word mausim, which means ship sail. It is actually taken from mausim, but it doesn't mean ship sail. It means the seasons. Okay, mausim is seasons. So remaining 2 are again self-explanatory. Nothing much to explain there. And you have to know, while retreating monsoon time only, Tamil Nadu, Andhra and all get the highest rainfall. Now when during the monsoon, they won't get. During November, December time, they will get the rainfall. Okay. Now, it's again a vegetation type, very, very easy question. The climate of the place is affected by location, altitude, distance from the sea, relief. All these things are there. Okay. It's affected by everything. Now, tropical rainforest, you should know. Tropical evergreen forest and tropical deciduous forest, you should know. Rainforest occurs in areas which receive heavy rainfall. They are so dense that sunlight doesn't reach the ground. Many species of trees are found in this forest, which shed their leaves at different times of the year. Okay, you know, trees will shed their leaf. Okay, meaning leaves will fall down, new leaves will come. So here, back because that much trees are there, and all will be doing at different times. So whenever you look at a totality, you will see it always green only. That is why it is called evergreen forest. Okay, tropical rainforest is called evergreen forest. And important trees are mahogany, ebony, rosewood, which is the question here. Rosewood is an important tree in the tropical evergreen forest. Andaman Nicobar Island, northeastern state, then this Kerala coast, western slope of Western Ghat, all these places you will find this kind of thing, okay, where heavy rainfall is there. Now, if you take larger part in India, it's not this one, it is the other one. It is tropical deciduous forest, which is there in majority of India. Okay, and it is also called the monsoon forest. They are lesser dense, okay, compared to the other one, and they shed their leaf at a particular time, meaning correctly this month or this autumn season they will shed all their leaves. Then what will happen? It will not look green. So that is why it is called deciduous forest or monsoon forest, which is not a evergreen forest. And important trees are sal, teak, peepal, neem, shisham. Okay, they can be found in all that regions in center. You can imagine Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Orissa, and parts of Maharashtra. Okay, not that is the eastern side of Western Ghats, towards that area, towards the east. All those places will have this one. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, all statements are true. Now, which are the following are true about Indian vegetation? Thorny bushes can be found in the eastern slope of Western Ghat. At a height of about 1500 meter and 2500 meter, most of the trees are conical in shape. Gir forest in Gujarat is the only home of Asiatic lion. This is a 2018 UPSC statement, and it's a true statement. Okay. And here if you see thorny bushes, it is found in dry areas. The leaves are in the form of spines to reduce the loss of water. Okay, this also is asked in UPSC. Leaves in the form of spines. Then cactus, khair, babul, and kikar are important and are found in the states of Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana. Okay, factual thing you have to by heart. These are the places where this dry climate is there and thorny bush vegetation is there. Okay, eastern slope of Western Ghat, Gujarat. These are again other areas. This is there in the question also. Eastern slope of Western Ghat. Now, mountain vegetation, obviously, where the mountains are there. Okay, and the height is between 1500 meter to 2500 meter, and the trees will be conical in shape, like a Christmas tree kind of shape. Okay, so these trees are called coniferous trees. Cher, pine, deodar are the important trees. Now, mangrove forest, obviously, where mangroves are there, that is, they can survive in saline water. They are found mainly in the Sundarban, where I told Ganga and Brahmaputra will meet, and West Bengal, and also in Andaman Nicobar Island. Okay, so Sundari tree is there, which is very famous, and that is why it is called Sundarbans. Okay, Sundarban. Okay, the forest. That is why it is called Sundari trees forest. Okay, so this is the 19th question. So this class 6th, chapter 8, terminologies like Mawsynram is the highest rainfall place. Okay, then these are the different seasons, as I told: winter, summer, southwest monsoon, retreating monsoon. Okay, elephant and one-horn rhinoceros roam in the forest of Assam. Camels and wild asses, once UPSC asked it, camel is found in Indian desert and wild ass found in the Kutch region. Okay, then snakes are found, cobras, kraits. India has a lot of species. Then all these birds keep coming in migration time, winter season, it comes to our country. Okay, now we'll do class 7th in the next video. Class 7th, chapter 1, environment. Okay, so environment, ecosystem, atmosphere. You can, if you want, pause and see, and directly we'll start in the next video from class 7th. This is the index for that. Okay.